G'day guys, at night we packed up the car and we shot up from Wellington to Mount Taranaki. It took about 4.5 hours, 5 hours, to get to the end of Maunga Road. Tell you what, park up here, it's the easiest way to get to Pouakai Tarn. That's where the reflective little lake is, where you can capture the mountain when it's clear in all its glory. Well, as you can see, we arrived and it was pitch black, but this was part of the plan. We were going to do a night hike, and I looked at the sign. I'm sure it said meander your way through the foothills up to the base of Mount Taranaki, but in actual fact, it was a mission. It was an epic hell climb, and it took us more like 3 hours, so just be prepared for that. On arrival at the tarn, it was still pre-dawn. I managed to get set up and get some shots locked in before the light even came up. I'll tell you what, we couldn't even see the mountain at this point, but I'm really stoked with the photos we got at that point. In order to get the photos, I thought, wow, I'm going to stop down the aperture to about f8, f11, maybe even tighter, just to bring as much of the scenery into focus as possible. And then I slowed right down to a shutter speed of about 30 seconds and kept the ISO around about 1000, I think it was, or trying to aim under that so I didn't introduce too much noise into the image. After a while, more people started to arrive, and it was quite cool actually, people coming there to appreciate and soak in the mountain and the sunrise. But in actual fact, that little cloud you can see over the mountain developed and blossomed into a much larger cloud and ended up obscuring the mountain. So our timing was absolutely perfect. It really pleased me that we got there in time to get these shots locked in. The thing that I do regret is not seeking out more angles. I was hustling around trying to find different angles, trying to find different shots, making different exposures. Well, that sounds cold. But you know, when you think about it, you're also there to soak in the moment, to enjoy and be part of nature and to be one with the outdoors, and that was all part of it as well. And one thing I would say is, even if you think you've got the photo, just to keep shooting, because you just never know. There could be some elements in the photo, or the file could be corrupt. It's always going to be better to have more files. I wish I had a few more on hand now after this mission, but I got what I was after. It's one of the iconic shots here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I finally got it. We did try a couple of months ago on 2 occasions, but both times we were rained out by storms and were not able to make it to the mountain. So this all came together. It was an awesome plan. Well, not necessarily awesome, because just after we finished shooting, we packed up everything and made the hike back down. You would think that going down would be easier than going up, but actually it's almost just as tricky, if not more technical. You do have to be careful. The benefit we had, of course, was that it was daylight on the way back, and it was quite cool to see all the people coming up the hill on their way to the mountain, especially when we'd already been there, done that. After we finished, we jumped straight back in the car and busted it back to Wellington, so all in all, it was less than a 24-hour round trip shooting up the North Island to Mount Taranaki, get the photos, and then get the heck out of there. Another thing that I did notice, we took way much gear, but as a photographer, it's hard to know what you're going to need and what you're not going to need. I thought, gee, if we're walking up there in the night, we might see some kiwi in the bush. As it happened, we didn't, but if we had have, I would have had the gear I needed to be able to capture that shot. I do regret taking the 70 to 200, gee that lens is heavy, and gee my shoulders were sore after all of that. But hey, we're no strangers to outdoor hikes and getting out there amongst nature. It's just that this was a mission that we did in the middle of the night with no sleep, hiking up a mountain. Okay, it's the base of a mountain to get these photos. And now this is something on the list that we can tick off. What other iconic New Zealand shots are there? Well, there's the Wanaka tree, and there's also that church up north. We've got to try and get there one time. But hey, being a photographer, it also allows me the opportunity to try and find the new iconic New Zealand shot. How the heck am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to think about that later. For now, it was all about this mission up to Mount Taranaki. All the photos you saw here were shot on the Canon EOS R, mainly with the Canon EF 24-105 f4L USM, and also the Canon RF 16mm, just to give that extra width. So there you go guys, I'm going to leave you with my favourite photo from the shoot at Mount Taranaki here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Thanks heaps for watching, and we're going to catch you next time. Bye!